9 months ago, I was hired as the VP of Global Growth Sales at a billion-dollar tech company. I'm responsible for driving tens of millions in annual revenue while leading 3 separate sales orgs. And not that long ago, I was completely convinced I did not want to be in sales. I actually accidentally got into sales, and then I absolutely sucked at it for 2 years. A big part of my early struggles were tied to my personality, or at least my perception of my personality. I've been an introvert my whole life, and because of that, I thought I wouldn't be able to become a world-class seller because all the great salespeople I saw seemed to be natural extroverts. I was missing numbers, I was watching all of my friends and peers promote fast while I was stuck. I didn't realize it for quite some time. It wasn't my personality that was slowing me down. It was my own mindset that was literally killing any chance I had to become good at sales. Now, looking back at my career, I've noticed many ups and downs that I've had and how I could have saved so much time if I would have just known how to do a few things right. So in this video, I'm going to do a small breakdown of my journey, starting as an SDR all the way to VP, so you can hopefully scale faster than I did, or simply learn how to be a better seller and leader, which I guarantee will help you make more money, hit your goals, and top the leaderboard. Now, when I landed my first role by accident because I thought I wanted to be a consultant. I did an internship and I hated it, and so when a small startup recruited me and I went in for a SDR role, I was very reluctant. I literally told the co-founder in my final interview I didn't want to be in sales. He said, "It's fine, you can start in sales and then change later, you'll just make less money." So I took the role, planning to change later, and then after just 3 months as an SDR, I promoted to be an AE, despite not being ready for that role at all. That was a really tough 2 years. I even remember one quarter being at literally $0 on the last day of the quarter, which is a miserable place to be as an AE, and I closed like a really small deal to finish around 10%. I was having a lot of self-doubt, I was making excuses, and I was constantly comparing myself to others and why I wasn't doing as well. When I saw my friends doing better, I would dig into how they were doing it, but not in a way to help me get better, in a way to help me feel better about myself. I'd say, oh, well, they've got better customers that upgrade, of course they're closing more, or they're getting better inbounds than me. I basically had 30 reasons why I wasn't doing as well as them, and I had convinced myself that none of them were my faults. I remember having a one-on-one with my skip level manager, so my manager's boss, where he gave me a piece of advice that completely changed my career. He said, "You gotta run in your lane." I was so worried about what others were doing that I wasn't able to run in my lane. I realized that every minute I was worrying about how somebody else was having success was time that I wasn't working on my own. We've all heard the phrase that comparison is the thief of joy. I also learned that comparison is the thief of productivity. I also realized that I was emotionally hedging. I was convincing myself that I wasn't having success because I wasn't in the right situation, the right territory, and even more dangerous, I'm not having success, but I could if I really tried. I was afraid to completely commit because it's a scary thing, because if you completely commit to something, you're forced to take accountability if you still fall short after doing all that you can. So my first step was committing to myself that I'd sprint in my lane and do everything I could to get good, which meant I had to start obsessing over skill development. Across every role in my career, I've had to learn critical new skills to continue to progress. As a junior AE, I had to learn how to run full cycle deals, because as an SDR, all I had to do was sell the first meeting. The transition to AE took me those full 2 years before I was comfortable running full sales cycles. Now, there were 3 skills I had to master to get good at the junior AE role. The first one was confirming that we had found a real pain worth solving before moving on from discovery, no longer spending time on superficial issues. The second one was finding additional people in the account that might benefit from our solution to build momentum across a wider base, not just relying on my one champion to bring the deal home. And then the last one was making sure that my demos were no longer high-level overviews, but rather showing the customer exactly how they'd use our product in their environment for their use case. As I did these things, I finally hit my groove as a junior AE, and I promoted a couple of levels into a senior AE role. My deals in this role started getting much bigger when I began getting higher in accounts earlier rather than waiting until the end. As a junior AE, I wouldn't get execs involved until it was time to sign the agreement. As a senior AE closing much bigger deals, I learned to get them involved earlier to define the solution, drive the value, and access larger budget. I also learned the so what test, which is the idea that when my champion presents to a CFO or a CEO what the value is, they had to answer a CFO saying, well, so what? What is the value to the business, not just what is the value to you? I was then promoted into my first leadership role when I showed two skills. I demonstrated an ability to teach others how to sell, and my process became repeatable. If you want to go into leadership, you have to be able to answer the question, how are you having success? If you can't define it, you can't teach it. And by the way, if you want to take a deeper look inside my sales brain, I do have a newsletter where more than 16,000 people like you are getting weekly drops of my best knowledge, and you can get that link in the description. Now, after several years leading sales orgs at Qualtrics, I realized a new challenge that was killing my growth and progression. I realized that I only knew how one company operated. For me to hit my potential, I needed to put myself in a new environment, an uncomfortable environment to stretch me, which led to me taking a smaller job at MongoDB. I went from running 10 teams and more than 60 account executives to running only 3 teams. But it was a more technical product, a company with more rigorous process, and an opportunity to get into the DevOps space, which is one of the fastest growing and most relevant industries today. That step back in my career paid off in a massive way. After spending 2 years at MongoDB, growing my role from leading just a couple of teams to leading North America for their high-tech acquisition org, LaunchDarkly recruited me for the largest role of my career, an opportunity to lead global sales orgs and multiple functions. I never would have had that opportunity had I not left Qualtrics in a downward move into a more complex sales environment to expand my skill set. I've been fortunate to have a really fun career so far. I've won AE of the Year, Manager of the Year, RVP of the Year, and most recently VP of the Year, plus several other awards at every company I've worked at so far. But I love to reflect on how it started because I didn't want to be in sales. And then I sucked at sales for more than 2 years before anything started to click. My slow start is a big part of why I love to teach sales. I firmly believe that sales can be learned. You aren't born great, and I absolutely know that's true because I wasn't. Now, this is just a small peek into my story, but if I could summarize all of my most valuable lessons in one place, it'd be in this video right here. In 10 minutes, I can show you the most value I've ever given on YouTube so far, so I'll catch you there.